you were told you're a conspiracy theorist. Except for you were right. And if at that time you were reading Scientific American and you were telling people, hey, mind reading and mind control technologies are coming, says the scientists, the same experts they're telling us to trust and trust and trust, those people are telling you we need to figure out the ethical implications of mind reading and mind control before we have those technologies, because they're going to go commercial like that. And you don't have to take my word for it. Just 2 years after that one was published, you see this one in Forbes. So what exactly are all those electrical impulses in your brain? Gabrielle Silva writes about neuroscience and its intersection with technology. So they're going to have a busy next couple years. They say there are 85 billion neurons in the typical adult human brain and 10 quadrillion connections or synapses between all those neurons. That's a 1 with 16 zeros. The complexity is truly staggering and hard to wrap one's mind around it. It is an information network of a size and computational space that defies any notion of intuitive grasp. And that's just the neurons. There are another 86 billion non-neuronal cells in your brain, including a class of cells that also contributes to information processing, like a chip, capable of cross-talking with those 85 other billion neurons. Well, the powers that be in the world, the globalist, satanic, deep state, elite, whatever you want to call them, they've determined what each of those 85 billion neuronal synapses mean and how to control them. And I'm guessing they know a little bit about the 86 billion non-neuronal synapses as well. And again, that's just the gray matter. If they want to control your brain or read your thoughts or put some in there, all they have to do is shock the right spots. And they're going to figure out exactly how to do that. It will go from being a crude and rudimentary understanding, a really silly looking thing like old school dentistry used to look. Although now we have all kinds of high tech veneers and fancy dentistry. Now you'll see the same thing happen with this. First, we're going to lobotomize people. That didn't work. How about shock therapies? Well, that didn't really seem to work, although we were getting closer. And now with the neurochemistry part being almost dialed in by the big pharma, now you're going to add that back to these electrical impulses, and sure enough, they've mapped the brain and the human genome. Get ready, strap in. Here's what they plan to do with the human brain portion.
First off, a video. It's going to make you see the future and understand a wonderful future where we can use brainwaves to fight crime, be more productive, and find love. Let's roll.
Sensing your joy, your playlist shifts to your favorite song, sending chills up your spine as the music begins to play. You glance at the program running in the background on your computer screen and notice a now familiar sight that appears whenever you're overloaded with pleasure. Your theta brainwave activity decreasing in the temporal regions of your brain. You mentally move the cursor to the left and scroll through your brain data over the past few hours. You can see your stress levels rising as the deadline to finish your memo approached, causing a peak in your beta brainwave activity right before an alert popped up, telling you to take a brain break. Your mind starts to wander to the new colleague on your team, whom you know you shouldn't be daydreaming about, given the policy against intra-office romance. But you can't help fantasizing just a little. But then you start to worry that your boss will notice your amorous feelings when she checks your brain activity and shift your attention back to the present. You breathe a sigh of relief when the email she sends you later that day congratulates you on your brain metrics from the past quarter, which have earned you another performance bonus. When you arrive at work the next day, a somber cloud has fallen over the office. Along with emails, text messages, and GPS location data, the government has subpoenaed employees' brainwave data from the past year. They have compelling evidence that one of your coworkers has committed massive wire fraud. Now, they're looking for his co-conspirators. You discover they are looking for synchronized brain activity between your coworker and the people he has been working with.
This is what they're using to sell this technology. This sounds dystopian and scary as shit. And it's very crudely done too at the art. I mean, it's good art if you're like an amateur artist or if you're doing this for fun. If you're the World Economic Forum, you'd think you'd want to have, well, I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. But the concept of it, awful. The push of how they're doing this, awful. We're going to scan your brain and see that you're fantasizing about a coworker that you should not be thinking about. And then we'll zap you and zap you again. Only they describe it as you'll lose out on a bonus or your boss will get upset and see what you're thinking about. What if you're thinking your boss is a moron? What if you can't help but think it? What if you can't stop thinking it? Well, that's a thought crime. You'll get fired for that.
While you know you're innocent of any crime, you've been secretly working with him on a new startup venture. Shaking, you remove your earbuds.
What do you think? Is it a future you're ready for? You may be surprised to learn that it's a future that has already arrived. Everything in that video that you just saw is based on technology that is already here today. Artificial intelligence has enabled advances in decoding brain activity in ways that we never before thought possible. After all, what you think, what you feel, it's all just data. Data that in large patterns can be decoded using artificial intelligence. We're not talking about implanted devices of the future. I'm talking about wearable devices that are like Fitbits for your brain. The newest way to monitor attention is through a device like this one. These are ear pods that are launching later this year. These ear pods, much like the video you watched earlier, are ear pods that can pick up brainwave activity and tell whether or not a person is paying attention or their mind is wandering. Okay, well, you might think, fine, but even if we can tell whether a person is paying attention or their mind is wandering, you can't tell what they're paying attention to. You would be wrong. It turns out that you can not only tell whether a person is paying attention or their mind is wandering, but you can discriminate between the kinds of things that they're paying attention to. Whether they're doing something like central tasks, like programming, peripheral tasks, like writing documentation, or unrelated tasks, like surfing social media or online browsing. When you combine brainwave activity together with other forms of software and surveillance technology, the power becomes quite precise. So what do we do with this? What do we do with technology that enables us to monitor brainwave activity for attention? Do we embrace it? Do we resist it? I believe that there is a pathway forward with such technology. We might soon even use the technology to help people wake back up. This is a haptic scarf that MIT Media Lab has developed, which uses brainwave technology in a responsive way to give a person a little buzz, literally, when their mind starts to wander, to help them refocus and hone their attention. I'm giving you the positive use cases because what I don't want the reaction to be is, let's ban this.
Does anyone else find it a little bit suspicious that she's put on the negatives first, then said, yeah, well, we can work out those things, but think about all the positive use cases, because I just don't want this banned. Am I doing her face right? That seems a little bit weird to me. You let me know what you think of this in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, grab a link in the description below. Help me grow the channel and help me keep America afloat.